Well, November was a fail.
It's okay, Mike.
Just trying to start this was a fail in the last couple seconds too, wasn't it? Because here I was, we were just about to hit the record button, or I was about to hit the record button, and instead I hit the leave studio button here on StreamYard. We were delayed.
You didn't have to admit that.
Well, maybe I'm showing my age too. It's been a
maybe
little while.
You could erase this right now if you wanted and start afresh.
I think it's hilarious that I did that. So
no one will be the wiser.
Yeah. So
it was just what professional podcasters do.
Well, yeah, but this is nothing like anything professional, right?
Well, not with that mindset, Mike.
Well, as I said, everything's been a bit of a fail over the last month and a half, I guess. That's the last time we were in, and that was in sometime in October. But it's one of those life happens things. So I thought, let's just Space Heater chat it. It's just Mike, James, and Kevin tonight. Mo has stuff on the go. Amy has stuff on the go, or either that, or it's because it is Sunday evening, December 8th. It is just after 9 p.m., and some of us are working in the morning. You are, right, James?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Amy knows us well.
Amy knows us well in terms of when we would actually start recording. Yeah, she pegged it perfectly, but she's in the know. And in the end, we were not really, I can't say we're the most prepared for this, although there's lots to talk about. So what do you want to talk about?
Well, how's Black Friday? Actually, that's what I want to ask. What did you guys get for Black Friday?
Well, related or not related to the regular topics at hand. The regular stuff we usually do.
This is a space heater, just anything.
Well, I mean, just nothing huge. And I mean, I've joked about my I did joke about my job situation a little bit, but just put that aside for a second.
We bought something.
I did buy a few things, not too much. I mean, finally upgraded the phone. Nothing special there.
What do you mean by that? Well, do I rehash the conversation we had beforehand?
Well, it's just what it just went deal hunting for a new phone and a new plan and got both. That's the upshot. Of course,
it's nothing. It's bought another iPhone. Huh? It's like, it's not. It's nothing. It's just an iPhone.
Yeah, it's just an iPhone. Really, it's just an iPhone. Nothing special. It's not as if it's a Samsung Galaxy Fold or anything like that, right? Or a Pixel Fold.
Well, I just feel like, well, you bought a 16.
Mm-hmm.
It's not special.
I mean, it's nice. It's zip. It certainly feels like a new phone. It navigates like a new phone. But after 4 years of a 12, a 12 slows down the processor, the battery, etc. The heat generated from a dying battery. Or
are you the type that turns their phone off every night, or do you leave it on?
I leave it on. Sometimes I leave it plugged in, which I'm not totally sure that's the greatest idea, so I'll try and be a little bit more careful with this one. And
I admit that I don't have the best habits either. I usually leave it on. Sometimes I do turn it off, but lately I've left it on because I might leave Twitch on.
Oh, just to watch. Yeah, that's fine.
Well, I need to collect my channel points for some of my favorite streamers if I want to use their expensive-ass channel redeems.
Yeah, well, that's fair. And then, what's the... well, that's fair, too. But I think my habits now will probably be, I'll just try... I'll charge it to a certain point and then just unplug it for the night. And then if in the morning, whatever it is, if I need to plug it in for a little bit, I plug it in for a little bit. I mean, on top of that, yes, I now have a new pair of AirPods too. Right? I mean, those were part of those in the run up to Black Friday type sales. So I got a new pair of those as well. Got him a little bit, got him discounted. Yes, there were discounts in the lead up to Black Friday, but I got him even further discounted because I just cashed in some points. If you are here in Canada, and I guess I get to start to reel it in, somewhat related. If you're in our overlap fandom, you would probably know that one of the more popular pastimes amongst some segment of our fandom is to use your PC Optimum points to buy video games. That was a popular thing to do. It was even the basis for a Loblaws commercial, for a PC points commercial. And
I don't know if it was necessarily a popular thing to do. It's just that people who knew how to maximize the benefits of Galen's point system would go and buy video games and appliances
and electronics
because that is the best way to take advantage of it. Because hey, might as well take a little bit of advantage from that rich ass man.
Yeah, but it came out over the last couple of weeks that Loblaws and more specifically Shoppers Drug Mart were going to stop carrying electronics, and they'll just sell out of their stock.
Yeah, and whatever stores they had left.
Mm-hmm.
Now I guess you're going to have to go west to London Drugs if you want your video games.
Well, that's out west, right?
We don't have London Drugs, though. And
I know, that's what I'm saying. You're going to have to go out west.
And that's the thing. They knew that the people who used the 20 times the points events and bonus redemption events would really not buy anything else, or would barely buy anything else aside from the electronics and the appliances themselves. So that's why they're cutting it off, because we're not also buying expensive ass shit there while we're taking advantage of them.
Yeah.
Because we know better. Unless you're actually buying loss leader things like eggs and milk, which is going to be the same price just about anywhere.
Yeah. Well, I'll also use them anyway. Got points, I'll use them. Upshot for me with the AirPods is that, well, I only opened them. That was a couple weeks ago. I only opened them over the last couple days because I just wanted a case. Bought a case already, and my first observation about buying AirPods Pro compared to AirPods Pro 2 over AirPods 2, if I'm to make an observation right now, is and putting the case on.
I dread the day my Jabra Elites die.
Yeah.
You know why?
Why?
Because I really don't like earbuds. I do think Bluetooth earbud headphones are disposable in nature. The only reason why I have these are because two friends graciously gifted these to me years ago.
And are these Bluetooth or are they just wired?
They're Jabra Elite 360s, I think, or 260s. They're Bluetooth earbuds.
Mm-hmm. And yours not anymore.
But I'm not a fan of earbuds, but I do use them when the occasion calls for it. I don't use them very often. And when they die, I'm going to be forced to buy Bluetooth headsets because, no modern phone has a 3.5 millimeter jack anymore.
No. And it's something they try to downplay these days, right?
Yeah, so now I'm forced to actually do research and buy decent headphones that will cost me money because in the past, I've never really spent money on expensive headphones. Like, cheap ones always did the trick for me because of how infrequently I use them.
Which is fair. I mean, I trying on these things. First of all, the case the regular case, and then I put a magnetic case on it, on top of it, a protective magnetic case, the thing becomes really hard to open up now, right? The top is really hard now. Although that also, and I understand why, but although the second I drop them, they'll just pop right open, and the buds will more than likely spill out anyway.
And you can't really fix these things.
Oh yeah, that too.
That's why I don't like them too. On top of them, like not being the greatest fit for my ears. Well, thankfully with Jabras, they have 3 different sizes, so you can adjust that and length.
Yeah,
and small ones work.
Little cushions and whatever they are.
But but
it's just
wrong.
Yeah, but
and they have so far.
For me, it was just weird because noise cancellation. Obviously, the technology has evolved in the past number of years. I had like some mid-level Sony ANC headphones. They weren't bad, but then that was like a model from I think 5-6 years ago, and then put these on the ANC on that, you really notice it. The noise cancellation hits you like a wall sometimes, like I said to James earlier. But I have those, and so those are my big ticket purchases, and that's probably as much as I'll probably want to go for the treat yourself mentality at this point in the year. Okay, so what about you two? Where are you guys? What are you guys waiting for? If there's something you want to get out there, and as I said, let's try and keep it within the overlap. If there's anything out there. Come on, it sounds like video games. It sounds like at least video games.
I'll go next.
Go ahead. I'll go reach for my water. But go ahead.
I bought some video games. I bought Kirby.
Okay.
I bought Switch Sports. I bought Pikmin 4. Hopefully get my tax back for those in the next week.
Yeah, that's kind of news here in Canada. There'll be a GST or HST tax break.
What I don't know is because those Nintendo games were bought on sale and the sale is over, I don't know if they'll honor the discount. Now, some of them went back on sale this week. So Kirby and Animal Crossing went back on sale. Switch Sports went back on sale. Pikmin did not, to my knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm going to have to figure out this week. I also procured a copy of Pokemon Sword with the expansion in the cartridge. Mm-hmm. And that was a arduous process where I was able to secure it and had to fend off people from buying it from me. And
how do you make it sound like they threw it in the middle of a parking lot, Kevin, and then you were fighting a group of people just for that game?
When you put it in those terms, I sort of am on the same page here.
I really shouldn't elaborate too much while being on the record.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
But,
never mind. I think I get it now. Thank you.
But if I am lucky enough, I will also have Shield with the expansion pass coming this week as well.
Cheers.
And finding those with the DLC on the cart is not easy anymore.
We have heard that all those Pokemon games, even the ones from previous generations, their value seems to soar very fast.
Yes, they do. I bought my Pokemon Emerald for $70 when it was already out of print for a few years. And I look at the prices now, if you have it in the box, and woof.
I guess that's That tells you as much as you need to know.
That's a good few $100 now. And I intend on keeping my copy until I turn to dust, but it's ridiculous how much those games have gone up by. And these were massively produced. There isn't scarcity on these. It's just that people are willing to pay nostalgia tax on those.
And all the retro game stores definitely are looking at what people are paying because they are upping the sticker prices on all of them.
Yeah.
Nothing personal, it's business.
And so what else did I buy, though? Bought 3 pairs of pajama pants at the Gap. And I also got a new phone.
Oh, way to go. Which one? I know you're on the Android side, so.
So, I was actually going to buy my friend's 7. Because he got the 9 because of the Fido promotion where I think it was $44 Canadian a month, and then you don't have to pay to finance the phone.
Way to go.
I was debating on that, but then because my phone plan is cheaper, and my intention was to get the 8A on sale and trade in my old 3A to Google for, get like my $25 out of that, that I felt like I wanted to do that because my phone is cheaper, my phone plan is cheaper, and I just generally didn't want to pay $1,000 for a phone. But now, my mom's phone died, so then, and I think my dad wants to use a new phone too, so then I was going to use the 7, and then my mom would use my 6A that I'm currently using and recording on, but I might give my dad the 6A, my mom the 7, and I'll use the 8A as a result.
What a good son.
My dad does not need that phone, though, I'll be honest. He almost never needs a phone.
I mean, it's a little bit of a weird dynamic, because I think it's similar to my parents, too. My mom both my parents have iPhones, but clearly my mom's is probably the better one. My dad's is an SE, an iPhone SE, and my mother's, I think, is a 14.
If I was in the Apple ecosystem, I'd just buy the SE. I just refuse to pay that much for a phone.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's the current? But I think it was the last generation of the SE. But let me see what the current version of the SE looks like.
Because I think these are still in like the $600 range.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
You could be right. I mean, I'm just not looking these days, or I'm just not.
Because for me, I was that person who bought OnePluses before they became too expensive, and then once the OnePlus became too expensive, I then switched to the Pixel A series.
Oh, okay. I'm just trying to just see what the current version of the iPhone might be. But just give me a second.
Actually, regrettably, did not buy any anime during the Crunchyroll sale. Because I know some Aniplex stuff did go on sale, actually.
Wow, it was like all the other sales, Kevin. It was slim pickings and stuff like that. Like, you look at what it used to be, and it's definitely not the same. Like, basically, the Cyber Monday one where they would say you did $100, you got $25 back. You spent $150. I think you got $50 back. 50 back. And if you spent $250, you got $100 back. But all the stuff they had to have the Cyber Monday thing, and even the one where it was 40% off, which is what they would normally do for pre-orders back in the day. Mm-hmm. All those had to have the specific thing on it, and all of them had to be in stock. So you couldn't. So nothing pre-order wise was on sale. Everything had to be in stock and properly labeled.
Yeah,
And
because
then
some of some of them was on back order. Some of the Aniplex stuff was on back order.
So that was the funny thing we hadn't talked about, is that they now allow you to back order. Like, oh, thank God, you realize that you can get more stock in. That's nice of you. But guess what? Unlike Right Stuff, where we could still get it on the sale when they were doing the sale, they said, nope, no longer on sale because we don't have it. It has to be in the warehouse.
Yeah. And that's like basically your only time to get any Aniplex stuff on sale too.
And I looked at some of the Aniplex stuff, and I just, a lot of whatever joy I had, I just went out the window. I said, nah, I'm not buying anything. I said I was going to look at a few things, and then after I saw the details and all the other things, I'm like, nah, I'm not buying anything. It killed whatever.
Because the only thing
I was looking at things, you know what I mean?
Was Macross Plus on sale?
I feel like Macross Plus probably might have been in there, but I ended up pre-ordering because I wasn't sure what was going to happen with all the crazy Macross fans. So I did get that earlier on. It was actually quite nice to watch the OVAs and stuff like that. So,
and I saw there was a door crasher on that expensive ass Code Geass set as well.
Yeah, no, I saw that and I was thinking about it, and because you had said they were only shipping in the US, right? And
yeah,
I looked and I did not see that on there, so I'm wondering if they took it off. So they might have taken off, and you could have got it at that really good price, because I've thought about that one, and I'm just like, I'm not that big of a Code Geass fan to just get that.
I was just too overwhelmed. Honestly, I was too overwhelmed with like personal stuff to really peruse the sale. I'll be honest.
I did see that Riona Kenshin Aniplex has decided it deserves 2 Blu-ray sets for the first season, so it's a prestige series.
Ooh, okay. Well, gotta be careful how much we want to talk about that.
Yeah, they don't care.
But, well, they're doing the Kyoto arc streaming now and stuff like that. But yeah, it's like I saw them like, well, I guess they do not care. That's what I got the message from when it's like they did the dub and then they said we're doing a physical and they did all the bells and whistles. So
yeah, they thought enough time has passed. Not as many people care that Watsky is a pedophile, so they're still doing it. They're still going to release it.
Well, if you want something that you may want to get in the future, and I saw Kevin and made mention is Seven Seas, it's always interesting to see what they go into with Kodansha, with Shueisha, and all that other stuff. And I think we had talked earlier on about Pet Shop of Horrors and stuff like that, which is Kodansha. And then I saw that 12 Kingdoms is going to come back and stuff like that from them.
I did see that, yeah.
The only question I'm not sure is, I don't think they're going to do hardcover, because remember, Tokyo Pop did hardcover when it first came out, then they do a second printing as a paperback.
Yes.
And this time, my guess is they're probably just going to do paperback, but the one thing we will have is we're going to have those original covers and stuff like that, because remember, the Tokyo Pop light novels for all of that line, including 12 Kingdoms, it was kind of like a bland cover. I think for 12 Kingdoms, it was just like a green cover with the title on it.
Yeah, and they had Fumi Ono's art on there too, but I don't know how different it is from the Japanese version. But you know what? It coming back in any capacity is a win.
Yeah, no, they've been going back. They did Marmalade Boy, they did Pet Shop of Horrors. Now we get 12 Kingdoms, so maybe they'll go after some more manga and light novels that
no
had way back when, or some of the others did.
No Marmalade Boy Little. Jury's still out there for Pet Shop of Horrors Tokyo, but yeah, I still need to buy those. Honestly, with the lack of manga sales, I have not been buying a lot of manga that's not pornographic. I'll be honest. Mostly,
I only get what I'm interested in, and it all depends on how I feel and if I can wait it out. But most of the time, I just wait for the sales, if there are any sales to be had, which there isn't much. And even though we've talked about Black Friday and all that, the sales are what we expect in this economy, which is lukewarm. And the idea of, oh, guess what? You're going to be paying for going down to just American price and stuff like that because our dollar is worthless and everything else. And then the other fun thing I love is I love looking at the Nintendo games, but I get them when I want them and stuff like that. And it's rare that I get them on sale because they hold their value and stuff like that. But $54.99 for, and they don't put all their games on sale. They just put a select titles and stuff like that. But the one that gets me is beginning of the Switch generation. Some of the games from the earlier days that they had on sale, $49.99. Now the sale is $54.99. If it was the newer games, I'm like, hey, I can understand. But hey, if they had already been on for $49.99, give me the old thing. Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
The economy went to the shitter. You know what I mean?
Well, it looks like they did reprint Splatoon 3 because that actually went on sale this week. Some games actually went on sale this week again. Like, so Kirby went back on sale, and then Nintendo Switch Sports went back on sale.
Did Skyward Sword ever go on sale?
I don't remember if Skyward Sword ever did. I just don't recall.
At one point it did go on sale, but I never got it. And the reason why I never got it is like it was the one Zelda game I got, and I did get it for the Wii, but it just never clicked with me and stuff like that. So that's why I never wanted to go and get it again for the Switch, even though I know they.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know Breath of the Wild took a while to go on sale. It took a few years. Tears of the Kingdom finally went on sale this year for Black Friday. What else? Yeah, Pikmin 4 finally went on sale. I think this was the first time it went on sale since release, like officially speaking. So I grabbed that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do love Pikmin now. I play with my niece. We have good fun with it.
Nothing like family bonding there.
Yeah.
And you had the other one, so.
I finally picked up Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance. Finally.
But which console?
For Switch.
Oh, you didn't decide you were going to go PS5 or something? It's like, I'm guessing it would run the same as our original Shin Megami Tensei 5.
Yeah, you know what? Like, with the whole shoppers video games thing, I was debating if I should get a PS5 through there, but then I thought to myself, okay, what am I going to really play on there? It probably would have been Shin Megami Tensei 5, and I probably would have bought Yakuza / Like a Dragon, Persona 3 Reload.
Your wish list.
I don't know what else I would really buy at that point.
Good. Well,
but yeah, they had put Phantasmo, ReFantazimo was put on sale, even though it was a month after. But yeah, Sega,
Metaphor ReFantazio, yes, yeah, I would have bought that too. Like,
but Sega.
That reminds me, I do own Still Wakes the Deep for PS5 because it only got released physically for PS5. So my hope was that if I ever went to Mike's place, I'd play it at his place.
But yeah, Sega, and even the Sega Atlas games, since they're part of Sega, it's like I would wait a bit, just like some AAA or bigger games, because you know they're always going to go on sale and stuff like that at the end of the year, or even 2 months later and stuff like that. And the only time you'd get them near launch is if they have a nice like special edition or something like that, especially on the Atlas side. But the funny thing you think about Atlas is all those special editions. The last one that was to all retailers in Canada was Persona 3 Reload at the beginning of the year in January. Yep. And then starting in February, ever since, and that started with Unicorn Overlord and even ReFantazimo, the new Yakuza game coming out next year, the Hawaiian one.
Fantasio, yeah.
All of them are with VGP, Video Games Plus, and stuff like that. So it's interesting how the world turns. And then even Video Games Plus, like I said, there isn't too many games, but they have been going aggressive with their sales for the Christmas season and stuff like that. Like they had a Door Crasher for Soul, I think it was Soul Hunters 2 or whatever it was for PS5, and I forget what other one. I think Soul Hackers, Soul Hackers 2.
Hackers, yeah,
for PS5 and stuff like that. And it was the original launch edition, and they were doing it for $10. Like that's ridiculous.
I don't think it did well.
It did poorly, but it's still a great game. Like I got it at launch, I enjoyed it. I understand why some people didn't buy it, but for $10, it's a no-brainer.
Okay. Yeah, there's no Switch version, so I didn't buy that.
What was that? I think it was the Persona Strikers game. It wasn't the strategy one. So the Strikers game was the Muso one.
I caved and bought 13 Sentinels finally, even though I probably should have waited until the tax savings, but I was like, fuck it.
Okay. So that's the extent of our buying.
$30, yeah. So what did you pick up, James, overall?
Yeah.
I didn't pick up pretty much anything. I think video game wise, as I told you, I waited and then I was tempted by Amazon's price matching. I got Astrobot brought it down back to American price. So it's normally $79.99 Canadian. I got $59.98. And then I got for the PS5 Silent Hill 2 remake. That is originally $89.99. I did a little better on that because instead of the American $69.99, I got $59.99 Canadian, and then obviously I added the tax on there for those two. But those were the only two I was really looking at. I'm like, okay, I'm willing to go at that.
There you go. And to be clear, these are all physical versions, right?
Yeah, no, usually the physical, but certain physicals, if I know what I'm getting and I know how long they're going to be, I'm going to get them closer to launch. Like there's certain games I will prefer because I know this stock just won't be there later on, you know what I mean? Or they'll never go on sale physically. They may go on sale digitally.
Yeah, like I know like I bought World of Horror early thinking it wouldn't get reprinted, but then it actually did get reprinted recently. So VGP got it back in stock as well as PNP. I don't know if you heard, James, they reprinted a few limited run games. So they actually reprinted Ender Lily, so now I have to think about when I'm going to get
limited
that.
run. I saw that about some of them. I have Ender Lilies on Switch digitally, but some of them, it all depends on what I get for limited run, because certain ones I will get, certain ones I'm like, nah, I'll just leave it alone. But it's interesting that's a part of the reprints because more people outside Canada now, like some sites, have started tracking Video Games Plus because for whatever reason they're reprinting some of these Switch games, and PNP and Manitoba is getting some of them too. And people outside Canada are like, what the heck? We don't have these reprints, but they can get them from there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Hyrule Warriors got reprinted recently. And they reprinted Pokemon Snap and Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, and the key distinction with those is that they're new carts. So all the DLC or patches are in the cartridge now too.
Now, if they can get it with the updated patches, like it's an even bigger win. And I never know. You never know if that's going to happen, right? So
well, with VGP, they will confirm if that's the case for the first-party Nintendo ones.
Yeah,
because now that I'm done with Sword and Shield, my big like unicorn hunt now is Scarlet and Violet with the expansion, but both parts of the DLC are on the cartridge, because when they first released it, the DLC because they did in 2 parts, but then they released it before Christmas, before the second part of the DLC came out. So then you have to download the second part of the DLC after the fact. But now there are confirmed copies where both parts of the DLC are in the cartridge, but they are very hard to find right now.
Yeah, and I'm guessing you're looking at the back of the cart, making sure the numbers line up and all that.
Yeah, and that's the problem, because you can only tell by the back of the cart. You cannot tell by the back of the package.
And I think that's what VGP was showing, from what I remember. Yeah, confirm with people on Twitter and whatnot.
Because with the example of Brilliant Diamond, they like that game on release was not good, so there was a huge day one patch, is what I heard.
Okay.
Like we're talking like 2 gigs. So then subsequent re-releases of the game now have that patch already built in. So it's maybe it's not a huge deal for some, but for those who who care about game preservation, and and for those who don't have to worry 10 years down the line whether or not they can still download these patches when the Switch store inevitably shuts down, like those are the people that will care about that stuff, like me.
Oh,
Yeah, and sometimes you never know until you see, because I was looking at Elden Ring and stuff like that for the one with the DLC and stuff like that. And then I kind of put cold water on it because I'm like, oh, by the way, you'll get the game, but then you get a DLC code for the stuff, the DLC, the big, the one they would release this year. And I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. It's like I was thinking maybe they would try to put it on the disc, but they didn't.
Well,
In realistic terms, you could say I go get the original disc of Elden Ring, right, at a really cheap price compared to what their sale price is, and then wait for a sale on the actual DLC, which they were going to give me digitally anyway from the PSN store.
anyway, well, you said Elden Ring. Once again, good with the segues, James. Okay, I did.
For us to finally audio video games.
No, I know. It's just, well, at least we know. But we have lots to talk about on the shopping side.
We can't help ourselves sometimes when it comes.
Yeah,
Well, there wasn't much for me, as I told you. I said it. I feel like they're just nickel and diming us and stuff like that. It's like, oh, maybe you can just get to American price in Canadian dollars and hope that's enough.
Mm-hmm.
Or they give you those things where it's a rebate, where it's like, okay, we're going to go in and give you this. I remember Walmart was doing, but then you have to go to a separate site to like prove you had bought in a card or bought whatever, so you could get a $20 or $10 gift card to Walmart or whatever store you're in. Those type of weird things.
Anyway.
Actually, I will tell you the weirdest one. Now that I think about, last thought is it wasn't a game per se, but I stocked up just in case for the eShop sales and Nintendo and stuff like that. So I got two $50 eShop cards from Longos, and they were having a sale where it was $10 off the $50 cards. So basically, for $100, I paid $80 for. So I got $100 worth of eShop money for $80, basically.
You do you set your province to Alberta, right, James?
I guess I set it to the right province. Let's put it that way.
Oh, you should set it to Alberta.
I'm just saying I'm setting it to the right province. That's all I'm saying.
Which is yes, exactly.
That's all I'm saying.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. That's all. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. But as I said, yeah, Elden Ring was a magical word to say.
I hear that they're from Estonia, a studio that Sony owns just a small piece of.
And wants to own a little more. Okay, how far do we, I know we've used up a lot of time already, and we only have so much left, and I know we will talk more at length about this. How far do we want to start to go into the Sony discussions, whether it be on their, well, let me reel back, and maybe I'll repeat it again when we talk more at length about this.
What, the grease scumbags?
The pillars. Remember, a couple of years ago, we talked at length about the 4-pillar strategy that Sony was looking to use as, with their PlayStation, trying to leverage the PlayStation in their anime aspirations.
I thought the aspirations, Mike, were that for the future of all of us, including Kevin, that for Sony, basically they're buying all this stuff, and soon we'll only be able to read manga, watch anime on the PlayStation Portal, streaming through our PlayStation 5 Pro.
Way to roll it all into one topic.
Yeah, they can pry my books from my cold dead fingers.
Yeah, I get that the whole anything concerning Sony is any news concerning Sony, whether it's with the PlayStation or whether it's with Kadokawa or PlayStation Portal more specifically, is already fairly old. We're really late to the party in talking about it because that's life. But is there anything and I know we'll probably go further in depth when we have more time to. It's just, what do you want to acknowledge about it right now before we finish up for the evening?
I let out a dejected sigh when I heard that Sony wants to buy Kadokawa.
Well, my understanding is the rest of the world, Kevin, believes that Sony is buying the makers of Elden
Elden
Ring
Ring,
from
yeah.
Soft, which they believe is what Katakawa is in a way. But
Because
there is
Katakawa
a video
owns the
game
shares
component.
from software, yes.
Yeah, from software, and there's many other video game subsidiaries they have. They have Spike Chunsoft. They have Acquire. They have Gotcha Games, which I don't even know who those are. Probably should know. Um, but then the other part is we always talk about is the anime side, which they've been ramping up, and yeah, they have a lot of IPs and stuff like that on the video game side, even on the movie side, and try to commingle them. We've seen that. I want to say we've seen that successfully recently with The Last of Us, because I'm like, why are we re-releasing Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2 on PS5 and all that? And it's probably not for people like myself who've probably played the previous games on the previous PS4 console and stuff like that, and that's fine. It's for all the people they're now bringing in through the HBO show of The Last of Us. So they're trying to commingle with things and probably try that as well with anime. The only thing is, they have Crunchyroll and stuff like that now. They have Right Stuff to distribute the stuff, but they do have Aniplex as well, which is on production committees and stuff like that. But I think they want more control of the content. They want more content, and the other thing is they don't really have anything in the light novel or manga sphere and stuff like that, which Katakawa does have, and they have tons of IPs in it. So that would be a big boon to them and stuff like that to commingle with the anime side and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
It's not good though, because then they're gonna not want any sexual stuff to happen in any of the IPs going forward. Because Sony is strangely prude about this kind of stuff. That's why I really did not like hearing that news.
And there is interesting things too on the video game magazine side of Japan, because they have Dengeki Nintendo, they have Weekly Famitsu under Katakawa and some others, and that'll be interesting to see how that plays out too, because it sounds like for Katakawa, like it's hard to say. Like I think Katakawa wants them to buy everything lock, stock, and barrel. You know what I mean? And some people are saying Sony may just want to poach them for parts, but who knows what's going to happen with that. But we do know they have basically said that yes, there was an offer, and we're going to see what happens. But there is other side things. Like I think one thing they were talking about was that there was this Korea Securities Depository Samsung, or it's KAKAO, which supposedly had been acquiring Katakawa shares. And I think they said they were close to 11%. And so some people were wondering they would rather be controlled by a fellow Japanese company for Katakawa. So maybe that's what spurred on some of it too with Sony.
Because Kakao is a huge Korean company that is a big player in the entertainment sphere there.
Mm-hmm. But they said they had gotten up to 11% of shares in Katakawa, so maybe they're worried about being taken over and all that. So there could be a bit of that too. And then they've had some rough rides, because remember, I think it was in June of this year, remember, they had that cyber attack against the Duango subsidiary, which had Nico Nico. And remember, Nico Nico went down and they had to have restricted services. And then they didn't really resume most of their services from that cyber attack till the August 5th. So they've had some rough rides this year as well. So if you add it all up, it's like they may actually seriously look at this. But whether it happens is another question. The other question is Sony willing to pay the price that they want and stuff like that, because I think they can definitely afford it and stuff like that. But it's a I forget what the price they were putting on. I think, but I know it was probably maybe a few billion. But I don't not even sure if it would be in the billions. It'd probably be in the hundreds of millions. But it still wouldn't be as big, I don't think, as the Crunchyroll.
Yeah, honestly,
but it still would be a lot, I think.
I'm just like, I think Katakawa are they the ones that do like Dengeki Bunko and all that?
I forget. Like they have a few in the magazine still. So I had mentioned Weekly Flights. I think Beeslog, Comptic is another one they had in there. So, and then as they said, they talk about imprints like ASC2, MediaWorks, Enterbrains under them. Remember Media Factory, Fujimi Shobu. So, and then some of the publishing side.
Dengeki Bunko is Kadokawa when you trace it back.
But yeah, it does help them, especially on the side, as we said, of light novels and manga, and ties into the anime. But also, when you look at how many production committees Kadokawa's on, it gets them onto most of the production committees that are producing anime and stuff like that, and that's probably a big thing for them.
I think they weren't already on production committees, though.
They were, but it'll just send it into the stratosphere, so to speak.
It just makes me worried that, we're gonna just have everything's just gonna be the same, and it's gonna be, I don't know.
But Kadokawa is on an aggressive push. Remember, they said we want to make this many anime each year, and they've been growing their profile with, and a lot of it is some of the stuff they've already published in manga and light novel form. So.
I'm just worried about censorship, because it already happens in some form or another. It even got to the point where if you bought Tsukihime for PS4, the art book was censored, or they took out 2 pages. That's where we're at with Sony right now. When it comes to
you basically have to watch. There are certain games I've had to get on other systems because you find out before or later weird censorship things they're doing between the Japanese and then the overseas version and stuff like that. So it's hard to say what's going to happen with this. But then the other thing is we talk about, and it's funny because remember it was I think it was Colin Decker, wasn't it? The CEO of Funimation, and then obviously Crunchyroll. He was there as they were doing the takeover before the new fella took over a few years ago, talking, and it was the same party line a lot of them were using about the uniqueness of Japanese anime and all this other stuff. But then we talk about keeping it and stuff like that. And if this type of deal goes through, you wonder where that uniqueness goes and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Sony controlling so much of the market, because then it takes that element that people wanted out of the equation to a degree. You know what I mean? And it leads to the things you were talking about, Kevin, that we've seen in the video game sphere of possible censorship of weird things going on.
Things would just be censored. Well, they wouldn't be technically censored, but then you might have editorial going, oh, well, we can't have these characters doing this now, which is basically interrupting and affecting the author's creative expression.
And we have already seen it already where things in the manga or images from the light novel of certain series, and I can't remember if it was ReZero or which one, the recent ReZero season, where they noticed, I think, certain characters, but one of the characters they noticed had, I don't want to say more clothed, but was a little differently dressed compared to how they were in the manga and the light novel and stuff like that. Because, and some of the reasoning given at the Japanese level and the studio level was, we're trying to make it so that it can hit all the markets of the world and stuff like that, and all of them have different standards and stuff like that. And that's going to be the thing we may be hearing, right? And before, they wouldn't always have been thinking that. So, you get that original vision coming through, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, obviously, yeah. I figure I knew that those would be your feelings, Kevin. James, I know you at least try and make sense of it in a business sense, and probably really, when we talk about this, I think we only a lot of the regular talk had only been on the video game side.
Well, we all want to see the good. Let's be real here.
Mm-hmm. No, but obviously in our fandom, we care about the anime part. All things considering, we know the type of names that Sony and Kadokawa have to our fandom. away from video games. So,
and I think, as we said, it's all about the Japanese side and stuff like that on this. And it just so happens that Anime News Network, Yen Press, J Novel Club, and stuff like that, and the Geeks Plus and all that just happens to be there in the package as well, so to speak.
Yep.
They're just being taken along for the ride, as I like to say. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens. But
yeah, what's going to happen?
Because it was weird. It was like a report. We weren't sure if anyone was actually going to make a statement clarifying, and I think it was Katakawa made the statement saying that yes, this report is true, that we have been made an offer by Sony and stuff like that. But who knows where the process is going to go from here, because they made it sound like this is like probably closer than we think. It's going to be within weeks or who knows. But I think this is more like the start of the process, and it's probably going to be months whether we know whether they do want to be bought out by Sony or not, and what the price is, which is going to be in the millions of dollars, right? So
I bet money that they're going to sell out.
Yeah, and keep in mind, we talk like.
They're going to sell out.
I think actually, I'm looking at what the Reuters and all the normal mail. They said a deal could be signed in the coming weeks. Sources claim, and I'm like, really?
That was like a couple weeks ago.
And where are we now? Still in the same spot we had been. Yeah, and it was Katakawa that had published the statement confirming reports that Sony Group Corporation expressed intent to acquire Katakawa Corporation, but a decision has not yet been made.
Mm-hmm. So we'll set that there. And once again, what's there to really stop it? Is there anything in would there be any regulatory body to block any of this? Well,
in Japan, not that
all on the Japanese side and stuff like that, but they haven't really done much because most of it was set up after World War II.
Well, my line is, well, if Microsoft can buy Activision Blizzard, what's there to stop this? That's where I am on that. And I know
if the two parties want that to happen, right, and want to stay as a full Japanese company, then that's their thing, right?
Yeah. Well, it's more, as I said, it's just this is just a scratch of the surface for us. I know we can go even further along on this, but we're late to the game. I will say, I know we'll talk about that part of the story even more in the before the end of the month, because I can foresee finally seeing another recording again this month. But if you want to hear a little bit more interesting details about this, and maybe yet another interesting view, Patrick Macias and Matt Alt, their Pure Tokyo Scope podcast a couple weeks ago, when the story broke, was an interesting listen. So maybe that's an easy place I can quickly recommend for at least another view, and how much it then the view from Japan, inside Japan itself, since obviously that's where they are. Do we want to go on the portable PlayStation news, or do you just want to save that for later in the week?
We can probably save it for later in the week, because I think the one that actually might tie in well, since Kevin was talking about censorship and stuff like that, which would make you wonder, is the Visa news from Visa Japan and stuff like that, because you think about creators and stuff like that wanting their vision to still be whole and all this other stuff, and if they now start getting pulled from corporations on one end and the payment processors on the other.
Yeah, okay, so Anime News Network, the headline went like this: Visa Asia Pacific acknowledges sales restrictions on adult content. And
they did make an update on it, because the fella who had done it, Citron Kitney, his actual title now is President of Visa Worldwide Japan, and he was at a Q&A session for the company's briefing for, I guess, Visa Japan, in talking, I guess, about expansion efforts there in Osaka and stuff like that. And one of the key things he talked about Q&A wise, and people had talked about it recently, about MasterCard, Visa having a stranglehold and stuff like that. And basically, for people trying to get stuff from certain sites, they were kind of being, hey, we don't want you, like, this is too adult or whatever, even though it was legal content. So Ken Akamatsu, MangaZ, I think recently had to shut down because the payment processors just wouldn't let them process payments. Other ones that have had issues is Melon Books, Nico has had issues, DL Site and stuff like that. And some of it is like adult content that isn't like full 18 plus. Like some of them are clothed and stuff like that, but they're adult enough, or I guess they feel they look too young. You know what I mean? They're lolly or whatever, and that they should not be a part of it. So let's get to his words exactly for Citron Kitney, the president of Visa Worldwide Japan, which, funny enough, if you look up his photo that some of them were using, he's this bald guy, and he literally looks like a super villain or something like that, which is even more funny. But basically had said in the Q&A session, he said Visa wants to make its payment service available to legal and legitimate products and services as much as possible. It may sometimes decline purchases to protect the brand. And basically, that one is what most of us figured. And then Kitney added that such decisions to decline purchases may involve both global and local policies for Visa, and that is important for the company to maintain honesty and integrity moving forward. And people were not taking too kindly to that and stuff like that. And they're like, what the heck is going on? I'm just trying to make a purchase. I have the money in my account. It's a legal product and something over there. It's probably legal over here, but you're still like making. But well,
there's legal and legal.
Some of it is some people I know. Some people are making mention for Visa and MasterCard is that they probably have been getting flack from different groups that have feelings about certain things, saying, "Hey, this is like going to corrupt the kids," or all this other fun stuff, and they're worried about lawsuits. So that's one thing that could be a possibility, but it's still like silly and stuff like that. Like some of it, yeah, there may be some things that could be questionable in other jurisdictions, but some things like fan art and things that are more etchy and stuff like that should have no problem over here and stuff like that.
I just don't know what else to add on that part. But
yeah, it's tougher to then bring Japanese doujinshi over.
Imagine that part of the story, right?
And that's the big thing with the Melon Books, with DL Site and Fanza, and then Manga Library Z from Ken Akamatsu. And so that was Ken Akamatsu was doing that because he was trying to fight piracy and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Well, then there's the irony of then cutting off the legal means.
Mm-hmm. But it's definitely, they said, we've been hearing more of those stories recently over the past year and stuff like that. So they've definitely been taking a bigger look, I guess, at Japan and certain regions and stuff like that. And you're just like, so it was fine before, but now we're like really digging deep and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I get it. Don't know what else to add. It's just you just keep watching, right?
Mm-hmm. It's like, well, all you are is the middleman. It's like, I have money in my bank. I'm giving it to said person for said product that is legal there and legal here, but you're not going to do it because you have you feel offended by it, or someone felt offended by it, and you're worried they're going to sue you.
Mm-hmm.
There's free speech, and then there's free speech, right?
It's like
only when convenient.
But it's always interesting that now, at times, they are the morality police for MasterCard and Visa.
Hey, get in line. But that's a hell of a story too. Just something probably under the radar from a lot of the other anime talk at the moment, right? So, okay, that's one way to spend an hour, isn't it?
I guess so.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, we could, as I said, there's a lot of other stuff we could talk about, but we just want to touch base, right? And I think hopefully as the rest of the month end of the year, the final month of 2024 goes, we can at least start to catch up a little bit and, give further thoughts on everything, on as much as what's going on and as much as we're able to watch. Just a little bit of a busy time the last little while. So, it's good. It's just good to hit the record button again instead of the leave studio button. And
I thought that was the right way.
Yeah, that was We'll be here. We'll all be leaving the studio in just a couple minutes. So, but and then hopefully we'll actually be able to do episode 93 when we meet again soon. Get Amy and Mo around the table. And that all said, I'll probably be taking a little bit of time to catch up with everybody too.
So did you guys watch any anime or read any manga over the past?
Oh, yes. Okay. Well.
Oh yeah, we should have that conversation. It's been a while.
We'll have that conversation later in the week. I have been trying to watch, and well, as I said, I've been preoccupied too with other stuff too.
Wow.
So I'll say something quick. I read Haganai Volume 3 this week.
Okay. I will say I've sporadically watched a couple episodes of Dan Dan Dan.
Dan Dan Dan, yeah.
Yeah, and let me form a couple thoughts before I really get into it.
My normie friends are watching Dan 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 right now.
Isn't that like the series of the season, it sounds like?
Yeah,
what they think, but...
Mm-hmm. So let me watch a couple more episodes, and then maybe I can give you a couple thoughts there, too.
It's not a show that, like, casuals would really be inclined to watch. It's kind of zany.
It is, but
wasn't it? It was like what did they call it? Like Shonen Jump Plus or whatever. It was in one of those things for Viz or something like that. I thought, or am I thinking?
It is. I think it's actually. I'm trying to remember if it was on Jump Plus or if it was actually weekly Shonen Jump. I think it's actually on Jump Plus, but let me double check.
But no, I was thinking that. But while you're saying that, I did mention, so I ended up getting the one for Macross Plus because I was like, you know what, I'm going to go all out on it. And it was such a pivotal series. And then the other thing was the DVD from Manga Entertainment that I got. I think I got that originally like over 20 years ago for $10 or something like that. Well, actually, it was funny. So that version that I originally got for the DVD, most people got was just the movie version. So when I had originally watched Macross Plus, it was the movie version, and it was Manga Entertainment, but Manga Entertainment didn't distribute in Canada. It was like Sony Music Entertainment, I think, distributed on their behalf. It was so weird. But but I got that for $10, so I was like, okay, I'll pay a little more to get a Prestige Anime Limited release. I do agree that they have the discs in the back of the book or whatever, and they've done that for Ultimate Editions before, but I really wish they were in actual cases and stuff like that so that they could be better protected for the long term, because some people I know had issues with shipment. I was lucky. Mine came no dents, no problem, but some people had dented books and packaging and stuff like that.
I heard about that too, yeah.
But luckily mine came no problem. So I ended up watching, after 20 years, finally, the actual version that originally came out, right? So I watched the OVA version in Japanese, and it's like, oh, this is, it was quite a nice experience and stuff like that to do. And then I was thinking to myself, did they ever do the OVA version on DVD? And I looked back, I guess, on Anime News Network or whatever, and I think they did. It was like one of the first anime DVDs, I guess, in 1999. They did 2 DVDs for OVA episode 1 and 2, and then
3 and 4
and stuff like that. And then they only did the movie after, so that's why later ones got just the movie.
The feel of those were both quite different, or at least on certain plots. But yes, that's I do have, and I think I have that still in my archive, to be quite honest.
But it was nice, watching the OVA and stuff like that, and watching it as it was originally meant to be intended to be watched and stuff like that. And And then looking at it and you're like, oh yeah, and then I can't remember if I remembered Yoko Kanno and all the people behind it, but now that you know who's behind it, it's like you definitely get the feel of the creative force behind it. You know, I mean, for music and for direction. That
it's so weird because I think our fandom, our younger fandom, really doesn't really understand. I really wonder how much they understand the role Macross Plus had back in the 90s in cultivating the fandom that would eventually pave the way for where we are now. Right? It was one of those benchmark titles back in the 90s. Like any fan at the time, that was one of the go-tos. And maybe because of all the legal wrangling around the Macross IP, it could never hold itself in the public eye, at least outside of Japan, probably even inside too. I wouldn't know that part, but and now it's a chance for those of us who became fans in the 90s to relive that part of our youth, I guess, so to speak, to relive that part of our younger days, and hopefully, although I don't know, for our younger fandom to understand where we've been and what was a thing back then. Right?
I guess the only news on that one that's kind of like not so great is that in the Anime Limited special edition or whatever, there's 2 discs. One disc is for the OVAs. The other disc is basically for the movie and stuff like that. And they have the extras mostly on the movie. And the reason is that the OVAs are only going to be with the special edition. Once they go to the regular edition, it's going to be like the manga UK or USA and UK release way back when, where it's only going to be the movie disc and stuff like that for the standard edition, which is kind of a bummer.
Maybe I should hang on to my...
So it's kind of like the Legend of the Galactic Heroes premium pricing strategy, just like what happened with Sentai.
Who's to say? Well, what can you do? Anyway. So now we know what's been on our watch lists, right? And read lists. So we should get back to doing all that. Anyway, it was, as I said, it was just nice to catch up again. So.
Oh yeah, I caught it with Chainsaw Man too. It was like 3 or 4 chapters behind.
Oh yeah,
on that.
There's that's your list.
That is the only thing that I'm caught up with right now in terms of the Shonen Jump stuff. I've been meaning to catch up to Hunter x Hunter because there's fewer chapters to catch up with, but
what can you do?
Yeah, it's. I have not been reading a lot lately. Let's just say that. Like that Haganai volume was like the first thing I've read in like a month. Like the month prior, I actually did read a volume of Red River as well.
Well, there you go. Maybe we'll talk more. We can talk more about it later in the week, I guess. Right? Anyway, we'll just. I think we'll just leave this here. Really, that's as much as I think we can really talk about. But if you have any questions or comments, you know where to find. Most of you will know where to find us at Anime Roundtable. Those are on any socials, even Blue Sky now. By the way.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I took out the name, and animeroundtable@gmail.com, animeroundtable.com for our for the linktree page, and links to everything else we'll eventually do.
Oh, you know what I've also started doing? I realized I've built up a sizable backlog of Anime World Order episodes I need to listen to, so I'm starting to work through that too.
Hopefully they're less than 3 hours each episode.
No, I want them to be 3 hours.
Are you going on a long car ride there, Kevin?
Yeah, those guys have had that habit in the past.
Yeah, they almost always do at least 2 hours. I'm that weirdo that wants long form podcast content.
Yeah, I try to. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about how long these episodes should be these days, right? I mean, we're already 70 minutes on this one, right?
Like, I know people will say that, yes, shorter podcasts are ideal. You know, we live in a world where one's attention span doesn't last very long, but when it comes to podcast, if I think it's entertaining enough, no, I don't want it to end. Like, give me that 2-3 hour podcast. I'm there for it.
Yeah, I guess. Well, we'll do our best to be more entertaining ourselves then. Yeah, okay. So once again, at Anime Roundtable on the socials, animeroundtable.com on the web, animeroundtable@gmail.com on, well, emails. And once again, leave us a review wherever you get your podcast.
What about our post office box, Mike?
Well,
with the strike going on.
Oh my god. Okay, so
let's not go there.
The strike is not affecting me too much.
Chances are when we come back, that'll still be ongoing.
Only for letters to Canada has that been a bit of an issue.
Yeah, no kidding.
Letters specifically. Everything else hasn't been much of an issue.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, but that's as much as I got. Kevin, James, nice catching up with you two.
Likewise.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's try to do it again before the end of the week. The end of the coming week.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see. I know we're busy. I get it. Let's try and have a conversation again. At least one of us. Let me talk to one of you again. Even Amy or Mo before too long. Anyway, I got to get something to eat. We've been at this for long enough.
All right, I'll see you later, guys.
See you later. Thanks. Yeah. Talk to you guys soon.